Okay, gonna look at the advanced factoring again. So this is called the AC method. And step one is multiplying the A term and the C term together to get a number. So if we look at 1051 on page 434, got 6x squared plus x minus 2. This is the A term, B term, and C term. So I'm going to multiply the A times the C term, 6 times negative 2, which is negative 12. The sign does matter here because we're trying to find two factors that multiply to negative 12 and then add to whatever the B term is. So in this case, it's positive 1, right? So something that adds to negative 12, multiplies to negative 12 and adds to positive 1. All right, so if we did obviously you've got 6 and 2, we've got 4 and 3. If we did 4 and 3, then we could multiply a positive 4 and a negative 3 together, and that would give us a negative 12 and a positive 1. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to rewrite this whole thing with the A term, 6x squared, plus the B term, but we're going to write it with two things. So plus 4x and minus 3x minus 2. Okay, so hold that thought for a second. Okay, now we're going to move on to our next step, which is factoring by grouping. So step one is just multiplying to find those two factors that equal the middle term. So 4 minus 3 equals 1. So we haven't changed the value of this expression. We're just showing it in a different way. So step 2 is factoring by grouping. Okay, so we're going to look at our two first terms, and we're going to see what they have in common. So they have a 2 in common and an x in common, right? So 2 can go into 6 and 4. So we can divide 6x squared and 4x by 2, and we can also take out an x. So if we do that, then that's going to leave us 2 goes into 6 3 times, and we pull out that x, just like that. And then in the second grouping, if we pull out a negative 1, then we get 3x plus 2. Okay, now we can look at these two terms and see what they have in common. What does this term have in common with this term? Well, they both have a 3x plus 2. So 3x plus 2 is what we can factor out. So after we factor that, what do we have left? We have 2x minus 1, so that's our other factor. And that's all we need to do for this problem. Okay, let's do another one just to make sure it makes sense. So let's do 1052. 2x squared minus 7x minus 15. Okay, same principle. We're going to multiply the A term times the C term. So that's negative 30. And then we're going to think of what can I multiply together that gets negative 30 but adds together to get negative 7. Okay? All right, so our multiples of 30, we could do 5 times 6, 2 times 15, 1 times 30, or 3 times 10. Well, which combination could I get a 7 with? Well, it's going to be the 3 and the 10, right? So if I had a negative 10 times a positive 7, that would equal, not 7, 3. sorry, that would equal a negative 30 when I multiply them together. And then if I added those two together, I would get a negative 7. So this is the right one. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this with the 2x squared and then my two factors that work. So negative 10x plus 3x and then minus 15. Okay, so this is the same value as this. Okay, now I'm going to go to my step 2, which is factoring by grouping. So I'm going to look at these first two terms and see what they have in common. Well, they have an x in common for sure, but they also have a 2 in common. So if we pull out the 2 and the x, that would leave me with an x here, right? And then here, it would leave me with a minus 5. All right, now let's look at our next two terms. What do they have in common? Well, they have a positive 3, which would leave me an x and a minus 5. Okay, now I look at this term and this term. What do they have in common? X minus 5. And then what's left over? 2x plus 3. And those are our two factors. Okay, hope that helped. Thanks.